Hello everyone, welcome back to Fir Park layout update number 5, and some odds and ends and bits and bobs that I've been doing. So just an insight into that. First of all, over the weekend I attended a swap meet and picked up a few bits and pieces. The footbridge in front of you there was only £2 in a bargain bucket full of old bric-a-brac and junk. I think that's an Airfix kit, that one. And it's been shortened to accommodate a 2-platform span. I quite like that because I think it's like a North East Railway Leicester footbridge as found at Hexham, places like that. I also picked up those Bachmann Syncraft Brute luggage trolleys. They're an absolute essential, those are, for a layout of this era. They were £1.50 for the 4, loose. I also picked up some girder bridge sides. I got 4 of these for £3. They're going to be useful maybe to put on the edges of the upper level. I've also got some Bachmann Syncraft high retaining walls which are recycled from a previous layout. Now these fit onto there and they're about the same level as well. They're alright, those. And I've added those to those set of 6, or 2 in each box. I've had these a while. I bought them sort of separately. Syncraft retaining walls by Bachmann, and I've had them a while. I'm going to use those somewhere on the layout. I've also added a couple of sidings in here for DMUs, and also a straight siding there which is under the dust cover. The idea of this is that DMUs can come round here. This is like a live sort of fiddle yard, but it looks like a DMU stabling point. So DMUs can follow the main line out of the depot around here. That turnout there I'm going to be replacing because it's not insulated, and they can go round here onto the loop and then into the platform. With all the DMUs in the stabling point, the loop would be free for a train in this siding which I've added, and that is my travelling post office train. That can then reverse out into the loop, and then when a train comes around from the fiddle yard into this platform and stops and the points change, the mail train can then go around and do a couple of circuits before coming back in and terminating in the platform. So I've added a little bit of extra track work. I've also got a diesel fueling point, Bachmann Syncraft. That will go sort of around about here. I'm going to redo this siding. That's not the final place where it's going to go. It's just when I did the track alteration, I just left it as it is, ready to do a stabling point. The tracks were curving around too tight and it looked a bit train set like, so I'm going to do a nice gradual curve and maybe have another turnout and try and fit in 2 nice realistic looking curved tracks going into the fueling point, with the fueling point in the middle and the track either side. Couple of purchases at the swap meet, rolling stock, a replica Railways Royal Mail full brake in pre-owned like new condition, and I got this which is a steal, 15 quid. Not only is it a Mark II aircon coach by Airfix, but it's also a DBSO. Somebody has converted this, and they haven't done too bad a job of it, to be honest. It feels quite heavy at one end, a die cast sort of, I think the bodywork's cut away about there, and this part is like a die cut with a roof. I think it's an old Hearst Models conversion. But anyway, this is just what the doctor ordered because I have a DBSO in ScotRail livery, which is over there, which is a nicely finished model. Now I have one in blue grey for 15 quid. I thought that was a pretty good purchase. I do have some Mark III. I've got 4 blue grey Mark III loco haul coaches which I can run with that to represent an early 80s push-pull working when it was blue grey. The push-pull workings were operated in the 70s with top and tailing class 27s into Glasgow Queen Street, and then from 1979 onwards, I think it was, they converted some of the Mark II aircon brakes coaches with a driving trailer on the end, and they were in push-pull mode, and they operated between Glasgow Queen Street and Edinburgh Waverley, and Aberdeen. I think there were some other destinations they operated as well throughout the 80s. An incident, is it Polmont, I think it is, in the early 80s, where a DBSO struck an animal on the line and it derailed the train, hence why they fitted a guard, like a shield, underneath the sort of buffer beam after that. And the push-pull operations continued up to about the end of the 80s, about 88-9, before 158 DMUs took over, which are obviously no match for loco haul trains with copious amounts of space and air conditioning and that. But the ScotRail fitted 47s ended up hauling normal locomotive haul rates with the DBSO just as a coach, and they'd be pulling it at either end. But I'm pleased with that. I know Bachmann are bringing out a DBSO, but you know, I've got a couple of those, so I'm in no rush for the Bachmann one, even though I probably will have one eventually. But I think that, you know, I'll probably have to make a decision, get my hands on one, because they probably will sell quite well. But I know that I've got a couple of DBSOs already on the layout. The other thing I picked up, a little bit trivial, I do show a little bit of an interest in continental outline railways. I have a small N gauge layout with a few bits and pieces, not a lot, that I've collected over the years, all bought second hand on eBay, dirt cheap, because of memorable holidays interrailing in Europe, Switzerland, Austria, Germany. So I picked up a couple of bits and pieces. But in terms of HO gauge, I don't have anything apart from this, which I thought was quite interesting. And it is the Leopold gun set with an articulated loco and the main Leopold gun with the support wagons and coach. Now, that Leopold gun is one hell of a piece of equipment in real life, or it was, and it was hauled to the front line, and the tracks, you'd have a turnout or several turnouts with tracks fanning, short spurs of track fanning for sort of left, right, middle, and they would shunt the gun into whichever position they wanted it to fire in, so to the left or to the right or straight ahead, because it couldn't swivel round. Took about 3 hours to prepare it to fire. Massive gun. The articulated loco, I had one of these years ago, just a loco on its own, and I saw this at the swap meet, and I thought, well, that's a little bit different. I don't know, you know, whether it's rare. I don't think that, you know, that word is overused these days. I think it's just a Lima set that came out many years ago in the 1980s. It's in mint condition. It runs really well. I think it was about 40 quid, and I managed to, I think, get it for that. In fact, I think it was listed as 49, but I managed to get it for 40 because some hand railings are missing. But I thought that was a nice little, you know, bit of fun. I'll probably give it a spin on the layout, although it won't look very prototypical. And there's no way I'm getting into HO gauge Continental as well. The costs are prohibitive, and I think I'd have to submit myself to the local lunatic asylum if I did that. So that's just a one-off purchase, just to have a bit of fun with. Other than that, I Oh yes, I added a curved platform there just to give a bit of extra running length. I picked up that for about 150. The platforms are Hornby, and yes, I know they're not very realistic. They're a hangover from the train set days. But what I am going to do, I'm going to repaint them and weather them. I may also get a couple of those yellow Hornby canopies with the green posts that go in and repaint them into ScotRail Scotland, sort of the light blue colour. And then I'm going to weather the platforms after painting them and give them a facelift, because as they are, they do look a bit dated, train set. I mean, you know, excellent platforms. They've been around since the year dot, and they've graced train sets, layouts up and down the country, you know, all over the world, if anything. They do the job. They've stood the test of time, and you know, there's nothing wrong with them. And I'm not just going to go and invest in new platforms just for the sake of it. So I'm going to do something with those. That sort of waiting room there is only temporary. I found that and just put it on there, but I should probably get a shot of that and do something different. I did think about a high level platform above, coming out over the loop there, but I think that would look too hopscotch and a bit crowded and not very good. So that probably won't get done. I've added the girder bridge sides from my old triangle girder bridge on the side there, screwed them in. That's about it for this update. I thought I'd give you the overhead catenary, that they're Weissman, those masts. I picked up those second hand. Not sure I'm going to use them, only cost a couple of quid. Might do, might not. They're not very prototypical, but we'll see. But that's it for this update, so short and sweet. I'll keep you posted on developments, so thanks for watching.